Thank you. Hi. Okay. Hi, Jodie. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be on tonight with my friend and coach, Jodie, because number one, it makes me put on makeup, which usually I don't bother, but I know Jodie's always going to look amazing. So I'm like, okay, got to up my game a little. So that's always
Jodie always does not look amazing, but when
yes.
Jodie's camera, she tries to look amazing.
And so I asked Jodie, Jodie, I'll let you say what you do because you know better than me, but Jodie has been my coach in the realm of business. And, I am a coach. I have a coach. You are a coach. I think you also have coaches, right? So we sort of recognize that the way to up level life is to keep working with someone who can see you in a way that you don't. So that's what Jodie's been for me. And so I asked Jodie to come on because in my journey of my health and my journey of my business, what I've learned is that the energy where you're operating at in your life and your health is the same for your business. So how well that's going, it's going to be connected. So Jodie, why don't you just tell people what you do and then we'll dive in.
Right. Which is so funny because, it's like, I just am who I am. And sometimes we don't know like one of my coaches actually said, if you can explain what you do in 500 words or less, then you're not doing what you really came here to do. Like, how do we even bring that down and conceptualize it? But going back to something you said, I see people. I see the genius in people. That is my soul gift. I have always seen it's more than potential. It is their greatness. I'm able to cut through the shit. And we're going to talk a little bit, I'm sure, about all of the things, but I'm able to feel the vibration of someone and where they're operating on a vibrational frequency level. So in other words, like when people speak to me, they don't even realize that their voice changes. Like I was listening to somebody who sent me a message today on Facebook, like a voice message, and you could literally tell the shift. It's just like sometimes just a slight shift in vibration, just a slight shift of energy. And I'm able to pick up on that energy in people and know what frequency it is. So if it's lying on a frequency of shame or guilt or fear, I can sense, like there's this sixth sense about what I do. I can sense where they're coming from, where they're blocked, what they're doing. There's my dogs.
Yeah, that's okay. My thought was, ooh, it's not my dogs, so I don't care.
Yeah, your dogs will be barking here in a second.
If people have no background with frequency and energy and what you're talking about, what's the easiest way to explain that?
Well, everything is energy. We are all made up of energy, of source energy. I believe that they come from source energy, from pure potentiality, from divine energy, God energy, whatever we call it. It's your business what you call it, but I call it all of those things because it is all of those things, just depending on who I'm speaking to. Right. It is divine pure potentiality. We all came as divine pure potentiality. And through our life experiences and the environment that we were raised, we've been formed, conditioned, and programmed to operate from a lower vibrational frequency. So everything holds a measurement of energy. And one of the things that I teach, as you know, is the energy of emotions. Yep. And through my own personal experience in the sudden death of my first husband, I was teaching at that time emotional intelligence to children. I was a teacher at the time. and I was teaching emotional intelligence to children, and then I would come home and lose my mind, meaning I forgot everything that I was teaching. I forgot everything that I knew because I was brought back in the conditioning, the frequency, the energy of my childhood experiences that I was still carrying with me on a cellular level inside of my body and operating from a habitual standpoint, a habitual behavior in my own marriage. I would see the dichotomy. I would see like, what is happening here? Or I would even lose my mind with my oldest child, who was, younger than 5 at the time. And it's like, we have to really think about, it's not about what we know. It's not the intellect, because I knew all the things. I had a master's degree in behavior, basically, multicultural education and ethnic diversity. So I was really deep into the understanding, the knowledge of emotional intelligence, adversity, all of these things that are wrapped in multicultural education and all of those kind of things, but wasn't able to act in that. And so when we talk about emotional frequency of emotions, and what I see all the time are the Walking Dead, basically. People who are still harboring, carrying like a badge of freaking honor their greatest shames, like holding it over here like the ugly baby, carrying it as, and it gets too heavy. Like what we're experiencing right now is on a collective level trauma. Yeah. We're going through a traumatic experience as an entire collective. Now, the beauty of it is when these things happen, when sudden emotional impacts happen, or when things of this traumatic events happen, we have the ability as a human, as a soul, to go into that experience and feel into where we're still carrying the frequencies, the energies, the emotions, the trauma that we can't take with us if we truly want to be set free. I know that I talk big. I talk about some big shit, but does that make sense? Like, you're really good at bringing it in.
Yeah, what I was thinking of was, as you were giving your example of, you were a teacher out in the world and then you would come home. I think a lot of people can relate to, like, they're living their lives and then they go home for the holidays, because you hear that conversation like, oh, I'm going home for the holidays, and they're right back. They could be like, a president on Wall Street, and then home for the holidays means that same dynamic. So the frequency, they're right back into whatever was the family dynamic. I think people recognize that phrase, but it's the energy and the frequency of who they were when they were growing up in that family, maybe, and the frequency of the family together. So that's what you're talking about, right?
100%. And when you're aware, when you can stand outside of the circus without being a part of the circus and see your own behavior, now you're ready to take personal responsibility. Now you are awake. Being woke is not about knowing what's best for somebody else right. or the world. It is about, are you aware of what is going on inside of here? What's going on inside of your body?
Right. And so that brings us to, so if people get a sense now of just energy and energetic frequency, the big areas that people seem to be challenged with are their health, and across the board, you and I both have had our health challenges, and across the board, there's like 85 million Americans have autoimmune disease. And
more, I'm sure more, because they have not been diagnosed.
Correct. And then there's also, like, you weren't diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, but your health is not good at all. You're either can't lose weight, you're sluggish, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all of those things, cardiovascular issues. So that there's that whole, how do so many people get to a place where their body is diseased, not working the way it's meant to work? Because to my mind, God didn't mess up that big.
Exactly.
He didn't mess up at all. So
exactly.
like the machine that we are is not supposed to be functioning that way. So health was, you know, a challenge for a lot of people. And then right along with it, I would say, love your input, is money and finances. You know, where are you in your ability? It's kind of like, the way I think about it is, your ability to experience health and vibrancy is equal to your ability to receive wealth and success in the world. If you're always struggling in one, you're probably struggling in the other, and or relationships as well, right? Those are the three areas.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
I like to think of it like an analogy of a car. So if we think of the car, the entire journey, you know, where we're going is wealth, okay? And our car is our body. Now, you might have a different car than I do. We might have the same brand. What do we call cars? Model. The same model, a similar model, but you might have had an accident. You might have had a boyfriend who was dating a girl and she keyed your car. You might be in an environment where there is a lot of snow and ice, and so you have salt damage to the bottom of your car. The car itself is our body, it's our health. And the quality of that car determines also our entire journey, because we can't have a quality of life if we can't get to where we want to go. Yes. And if we can't get to where we want to go, then our car it's damaged in some way. So maybe, like, if we think about from an emotional perspective, the car is like having, I just made this up, by the way. I've got chills everywhere because I've never spoke about it in this way, but chills are everywhere. So the car is in the trunk. We compartmentalize all of our shame, all of our secrets, all of these things we thought we got through, but we didn't. We just put them in our trunk. Yes. And then they become our junk. And now it's spilling all over the place. And now it's not just affecting our car, but it's on the road as well. Spilling out to all the other people. So that quality of car, it's like, I will speak to people like my sister. We have a difference of awareness around what a quality of life is. Like my late husband, we had a difference of an idea of what clean was. Okay. You have a difference of idea. I mean, look around at what is happening in our world. My idea of a quality of life, my idea for my body, the experiences that I've had, that I've gone through in this one body who happens to be my only soul mate that I will guarantee to have for my entire existence. I care what goes into this body. I'm going to want to know the answers about what goes into this body. I ask critical questions. The way in which my late husband died caused me to ask questions because it had something to do with the medical error. Right. We have to look below the surface and stop looking out at what everybody else is doing. Clean our own shit out, declutter, so that we can think clearly. How many times have you been in the car with somebody and they've said something like, turn down the radio, I gotta figure out where I'm going.
Yes.
Something of that nature. And it has nothing to do, you're driving. You've got to see to drive. You don't need to hear to drive necessarily. It's because we've got all of this frequency, all of this stuff that's not even ours. So we've got to clean out our own car in order to be set free within ourselves so that we know where we're going. Until we do that, we open up our car door to what is the guy driving next to me going to do. We open the car door for the hijacker on the corner. And literally like handing over our lives saying, here, you tell me what I need to do. If you don't have that sovereign power, that ownership of your body, it's not an easy thing. It's multi layers, and this is why we get into these positions where we cannot fight autoimmune from just a perspective of medicine. Definitely not mainstream medicine. They don't have a clue what to do with that.
Right.
It's not in their book, and that's fine, but it's not in their repertoire.
Right.
It is a multifaceted, multi-layered thing.
I love the analogy of the car, and your health determines the quality of your journey. So that, because it was making me think of, okay, you and I head out on a cross-country trip. So
yeah,
I'm here on the East Coast. We're going to go to California. You and I, you get in your car, I get in mine. And along the way, now my car, and I used to have a car like this, I had to carry like a big gallon of water because I had to pull over every so often and go in and pour water in the radiator.
Right? And we get used to that.
We get used to it. That's just what I did.
It's just what we do.
Right. Or you're driving and you get a nail in the tire. So now you're like, click, 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 click. And you're way ahead of me because I'm like pulling over and pouring water in the radiator. And I got the tire. That's our health determining the quality of that trip. So one person can make that journey and be experienced like, oh my gosh, look at these mountains in this state and look at this. And they just are filled with the abundance that life is. And the other person is gripping onto the steering wheel going, God, let me get there because this thing's going to fall apart. So that's the energy that you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
And the health, the quality of your health is going to determine then how safe you feel in the world, how, how much you think you are worthy of receiving things. But what's also interesting, Jodie, what I've learned is how I got unhealthy has a lot to do with those beliefs. Like it's not, I think people, and this is hard for people to get their brain around because they're like, you're going to tell me I have something to do with why I have autoimmune disease? So, and that is hard. That's, a lot of the work that I'm grateful that you've done with me. It's work that I'm doing with my clients of like, we got to look back. What are you holding on to? What did you decide about yourself when you were 2 years old or whatever?
Right. And it's not so much like people are so used to defending themselves. People are so used to being right. Like we're not going to get where I came into this lifetime to get. We're not going to get there as long as we continue to pawn off why we are where we are today on somebody or something else, or why we can't get somewhere. Same thread there. But what I was going to say also is that, it's not that we've done something bad.
Right.
Like I've been a healthy person. It is not that I'm like eating McDonald's and Doritos and doing all of the bad things. I think a lot of us I think a lot of society, a lot of people that work around health, they focus on that as if you've done something bad and wrong.
Right.
It's not It's not always that. It's that the people that are successful, the people that have broken free, that have in some way are like these transitional characters is what they're called. They're kind of the person in their family that has accomplished a certain level of success that nobody in their family has done before. And essentially, they've broken free on some level from the tribe. So it's not that you have two kind of people we're speaking to, you know? It can be these people who know that they haven't necessarily been on a trajectory of putting quality things into their body. And then we have the people who have been running since like kindergarten to reach a point of success, but nobody has taught them, not because we were bad and wrong, our parents were bad and wrong, and maybe they were, but it doesn't even mean that. It means that nobody knew until now how to unpack these heavy emotions and heavy stuff that we are experiencing. And so when it's like a beach ball that we're trying to hold down, only we don't even know that there's a beach ball that we're holding down.
Yeah.
It's the junk in the trunk that we don't even realize is about to explode. Or the gas can that's rusting out that we don't even have a clue under the surface that it's about to leak out. I'm trying to talk cars. This is fun.
Clearly, you're an expert. So, yeah.
I love the way you say radiator, by the way. You've got the East Coast, Jersey.
How do you say it?
Radiator.
How did I say it?
Like radiator?
Oh, I said radiator. I did. I said radiator.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. So
yeah, it all goes together and it's all entangled in our relationships.
Yeah.
It's all entangled in our relationships. So when people say, I talk about, like, I can't just talk about money without getting into relationships. I can't talk about health without getting into relationships.
Agreed. Yes.
It's the passenger.
Yeah.
It's the ugly room. It's the thing. Because it's all our greatest need as a human race is to belong. And if we look at all the different things that are going on, these movements, which in my world, I don't just look at what the movement is, I look below the surface and who is in charge of these movements and how they all come together with the same people in charge of these movements that are, the intention is to actually separate us rather than bring us together. They're focusing on problems as opposed to focusing on solutions. I teach solutions.
Right.
Solutions. You remember that too.
Yes.
Solutions. We teach solutions.
Solutions. Yes.
Solutions.
I got that from you and I nabbed it because I love that so much. Solutions, because people do get very focused on, from just having a stress mentality, being stuck in fight or flight, their brain is looking at what's wrong, whatever it is, they're coding from their family, whatever it is, people get stuck and looking at the problem.
Yeah.
And not looking at the solution. And that's going to spill over into your health. It's going to spill over into your ability to create abundantly for yourself and your family and to have great relationships. I mean, that's just.
And back to the car analogy, it's the diversion to pull people off of their journey, their soul journey, the reason why we freaking came here. It's the diversion. It's the squirrel. Right. There's going to be another thing. I think we've covered a lot of the bases. I think we've covered a lot of them as far as what we could use as ammunition. There hasn't been religion hasn't been targeted so much, although there's been some things, but all of the things have been brought to the surface. And you're either going to be somebody who looks at things from the surface, or there's something lingering underneath the surface. That's where I work. Right. I work down in the dirty. The unsexy, it's so much easier. Like, I don't know how you felt, but when I had Lyme disease, which is out of my system now, which is a miracle in itself, according to what most people believe, right?
Yep.
But when I had that, and it came on suddenly, and there were points, Linda, that I wasn't even sure if I could make it to the bathroom at night, where I would have to just pee in the night. But I would be so afraid to get up at 40. How the hell old am I? 49. So 47, 46, 47 years old, afraid to get up to go to the bathroom at night because I was afraid of falling and not getting up. We come into this world with three fears: the fear of falling, the fear of loud noises, and what's the other fear? Fear of falling, the fear of loud noises.
Being alone? Something like that?
No, it's not the fear of being alone, but that is what we learn. Because we need we need food, we need substance. The fear of falling, the fear of loud noises, and the fear of, can't think of it right now. I will think of it, people. But fear of falling is one of our innate fears. All the other fears we've learned.
I got it. Okay.
All the other fears we've learned. So in the night when I couldn't trust my car.
Right.
I didn't know if my car was going to make it into the bathroom and back into the bed, which was, steps away. But you learn through these experiences. What I learned through that experience with my own personal body, my own personal health, is that if we don't have a sense of self-awareness about our body, a sense of strength within our own bodies, we will bring in doubt. And the moment we doubt ourselves, we doubt everything in life. We doubt the uncertainty. And if there has been, you've had much uncertainty in your life. I have had much uncertainty in my life. Raising 2 children and one on the way after my husband died. There's uncertainty, but we're feeling it as an entire human species right now.
Yes, we are.
I don't know what's going to happen. When I'm in charge of my life, when I'm in charge of my road, when I'm in charge of my journey, when I'm in charge of my car, I know where the fuck I'm going. But I can't focus on all of this out here. I got to focus on what's in here, continuing to build this car, continuing to clear my mind so I know where I'm going,
Yes. Yep. So it's amazing work that you do. I'm grateful for the work we've done together and how it's helped me in my business and be who I am for my clients. How, if somebody, you're running some things right now, particularly around wealth, right?
Yes, around wealth, and I hope that we have come to the understanding in this short conversation that wealth is not just about the money, but the money is involved. We tend to use money as our diversion, as our reason why we can't. But so it is a part of it. We have to look at it. Because we've put that energy into money. So we're working on the Wealthy Woman Unleashed, my program that we're taking right now. We're in week 4. Are we in week 4? I don't even remember at the moment, but we're working on Wealthy Woman Unleashed. And then I am also partnering with Leah Steele. Matt will make fun of me as I'm laughing at your radiator. I say hill and heel all the time. So Leah Steele, she is known as the Wealth Witch, and she does this annual program called Ouroboros, and it is a wealth program. So I'm partnering with her, promoting her program with a bonus from me. If you purchase her program, you get a bonus from me of the Wealthy Woman Unleashed program.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And you also get a private call with me. And if you've taken Wealthy Woman Unleashed, you can send me a DM. We'll do something same value. And then anybody who signs up as an affiliate through me, they also get placed into a private group with me. So I'm going to go through the program as well. I met Leah, Healy, my Healy device. Yeah. So I met Leah through Healy, and I knew this woman I needed to know her more because we spoke the same language, slightly different. And I know how important it is to be around people that speak the same language. Like, it is so easy for things to slip in and us to get off track if we're not constantly calibrating to other people who help us remember who we are. So she was one of those for me, and I cannot wait. It's actually a 16-week program, so it's very intensive. She brings in the chakra system, the 5 elements. What else does she bring in? 5 elements, fire, something else. So she brings in these different modalities, and she's created a clearing process for that. And she had a free 30-day program just a second ago, which was amazing too. So if you want to be a part of that, I just friend me or send me a message. You can also follow me on Instagram.
Should I just put so should I'm going to spell your name for people.
Yeah. I don't know that I can I make comments?
I don't think you can.
Instagram, and is Jodie Rosenbaugh?
Not Sudalovich Rodenbaugh?
No.
Okay.
Satilovich is my, I love the way you say it, by the way. You say it correctly.
Not like radiator.
But Satilovich was my maiden name. This is funny. My kids will get a kick out of this because they've been talking about it lately. They're like, Mom, she likes to change her name. She just put Satilovich as her middle name, and she got rid of Lynn altogether. So that's how we do it. So I just haven't taken that name off.
Okay,
so Rosenbaugh.
Rodenbaugh. Did I spell
That's
it
right?
Okay.
You did. So find me on Instagram. I usually have up in my bio links. But if it sounds like something that you might be interested in, send me a message and I can just pop the link to you if you're interested in knowing more about that. Also, you can take a peek at my personal page and all the things. I also have a private Facebook group called Love Genius Collective. Linda, tell us what you've got going on so my people can hear.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Love Genius Collective.
Yes.
So as you know, I've been in the health space for 35 years, working on my own health most of that time, and working with clients and working with people with autoimmunity. And I just really have been focusing, because it just spoke to me louder and louder and deeper and deeper. I'm working with people in this capacity of their emotions and their blocks and how that's relating to their health.
Yes.
Because what was happening was I was working with people with their health, and we were doing all of the things. I like to say that when I'm talking to you, because then I sound like you. But the gut cleanses, the liver detox. I've taken so many courses and spent so much money to learn all of that. And what I learned is that if people are not okay emotionally,
yes,
the car they're driving, if they've got junk in the trunk, it's such a great analogy. I'll be using it forever now. But if they've got their childhood experiences or their family stories in the trunk of their car, they're not going to get to California with any sort of joy or abundance.
No.
And those infections are going to come back, because the immune system, you can't separate out the physical body and your emotions and your thoughts. You can't. Western culture thinks you can.
Yep.
It tells us you go over here for your physical body and over here, and they're not, but they're this. So you just get, so what I was learning was that people were doing a lot of work and being very earnest about it and working really hard and spending years and a lot of money and not getting well. And so this is the work that I do. And I'm grateful for it, because I don't know if you saw, but a week ago, I did a conversation with my husband, and we're not together.
Yeah, I did.
And we're not together anymore. And it's that kind of work that would have me be able to be in a conversation with him on Facebook Live about our marriage and about, my vulnerability. It was really about my health and how it impacted. There were a lot of things that went into that marriage, but we focused on that. Like, to be able to have those kinds of conversations now, because the trunk is empty.
That's right.
And now there's a clarity. And when you empty your trunk, now you're in nothing. You're not standing in the past, you're standing in nothing. And that makes anything possible, as opposed to more of the same coming in. So that's what I'm doing with my people now, is really working on, with the emphasis on health, but bringing in the spiritual and the emotional and the transformational thinking, because you have to transform how you think.
Yes.
You can't have an insight about something or, recognize it cognitively. You've got to transform it, which means you've got to go through it and change it, or the conversation doesn't change. So that's what I'm doing.
That's right. And I feel like I'm looking over in the corner at you on my computer, but yeah, like we're doing the same thing, only you have the health focus that people are coming in on. There is absolutely no way that I would not have Lyme anymore. Did I say that right? There's absolutely no way that I would be Lyme free right now if I did not unpack my trunk and take the hooks out. The hooks in past relationships that weren't a negative thing. It's just we can't grow unless we take those hooks out.
Exactly.
So there's also this whole thing that I'm looking into right now, that and it's something that I intuitively knew, Linda, but it's fascinating. So when I got Lyme disease, my dad had just died, or when I was diagnosed, when it came out. My dad died, and I left the home that I custom built with my first husband. I left that home that I was in after he died. It was my haven. It was my safe haven. And I was doing things that were amazing with my now partner, with my now husband. and building our new home. But what people don't understand is that growth is still grief. And what I know now is that there was an emotional connection to my father's death and to Lyme. And what these certain diseases do is they come out after you have resolved something. After you have stepped out of the role that you were playing. And that is why I teach what I do and helping people cross that bridge. And same for you. It's like we've got to check under the hood. We got to look in the trunk. We got to break it down like we're looking for cocaine that you're taking across country in the car. Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen someone do that at a truck stop once.
Really?
Yes, he was strung out and he was taking his car apart, looking for bags of dope or whatever.
Oh my God.
There's some crazy stuff in our world, Linda. You got to get out of Jersey.
There is. And you know what I'll say, I mean, I know that you and I could sit here and talk all night.
I know.
I love to do that. But every single woman, whether they end up becoming my client or they don't, when I have a conversation with them, every single one of them admits to, on some level, a serious hurt or trauma. They'll either say, I got really sick after a terrible divorce, or I grew up in an alcoholic household, or I was a caregiver for my sick mother for 5 years. Like there's some sort of really heavy thing, big thing that they can directly relate to. It was after that I got sick, or like that alcoholic childhood type of thing. And myself included.
That's right.
And, you know, they don't realize the correlation with those events and their illness.
Yes.
Because again, in this culture, we think illness happens because of the germ that's out there that you got or something. Mm-hmm. But as I said before, God did a much better job than that. You know, this body can handle any germ that's out there if we take care of our body.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Yeah, and it's so true. We can't not look at it. So, especially what we're dealing with here, because a lot of us are going to be changing our identity. We're going to be changing, you know, not like our identity as in this, our character. We're building strength right now. Like we're training for life here. And a lot of times when we're breaking free from those old patterns, when we break free from slavery consciousness, when we break free from, because slavery is a consciousness, when we break free from poverty consciousness, what people don't realize is that there's a part of us that is still either attached energetically or needs to be broken open more.
And that's what you're so great at. And I'm so thankful.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
Don't you? It is just like, do we really get to do this for a living?
Yeah, it's pretty great. It is pretty great.
We've had to endure it though.
And people, I mean, clients might be going, it's not so great. But it's, you know, there's a gift in going through the journey too.
Such a gift.
Such a gift. So thank you we just decided to do this today. I thought I missed you, and I thought let's hop on here. So thank you so much for being available and for sharing what you do. And you really, I think your focus is amazing with wealth and business. So and do you only work with women, Jodie?
I work with men privately, but they've taken my programs. They'll do my programs. They want my programs, but I don't market to men. They just find me.
Okay. So, because I was about to say, if you're a woman and you want to really dig into your wealth and your business and who you are about that and what do you need to do to make it grow. Thanks, Lori, for coming. Lori's been on, Lori Morgan. Jodie would be who you want to talk to. So that's why I wanted to talk to you tonight. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm sure we'll do it again soon. And I'm going to check out your program that you're doing. What's her name? The woman that you're doing the program with?
Leah Steele. Leah Steele.
Leastle.
Leahsteele. And the program is Oris.
So people could look that up. I figured since you mentioned it, I might as well put it
on my personal page. They can look it up.
Okay.
Great, love.
All right, everybody. Have a great night.
I'm going to move you into that podcast. We're going to repurpose all of your business here.
Awesome. Perfect. I love it.
All right, babe.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon.
Ciao.